Hello and welcome to our next podcast. My name is Hanneke Pastoor and I'm the Director of Digital Growth here at Rapid Circle. And I'm here today with George Stavrakakis.
Hi, Hanneke. I'm George Stavrakakis.
Hi, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Introduce yourself. Who are
Oh,
you?
is that what you got to do on these things?
Yeah,
Okay.
people don't know
CEO
you.
of Rapid Circle. And work with a great bunch of pioneers doing great stuff in tech, cloud tech, AI tech.
Very cool.
Mm.
So what are we going to talk about today?
I thought we'd start with us.
Nice.
Be maybe a little bit reflective of our journey of change and how AI has sort of pretty much come into our world and how we're using it internally in the last 15 months since I came on board.
Yeah,
So I think
sounds
that's
like
been
a
an
plan.
interesting journey for us.
It has. It has been a winding road over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I think we've come up with the approach that we want to be customer zero and try all this new technology, new innovation internally, and see how it can improve the way we do things, the way we service our customers, the way we service the market. And that has been an interesting journey given, inherited, like I think most companies, a whole bunch of legacy applications and systems that really served us well for a period of time, but weren't quite going to take us where we wanted to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started this journey in Australia a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, because I met you there. I was in Australia for a couple of years after a long stretch here in the Netherlands, where I've seen this company be pioneering. And we've been pioneering for a long time. Long time ago, first ones to do things on cloud. BPOS, the first implementation.
Oh, wow. The
Yeah.
first BPOS
Yes.
implementation.
You didn't hear that one yet?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah. That's,
So lots of new things. And for me, I've been here for 12 years and I've seen a lot of change and a lot of things happen in those years. But I think the biggest change for me happened when I moved to Australia in 2024. And after a while, you joined. And in those 2 years that I've been there, we've pivoted on what you just mentioned in our internal innovation and trying to figure out how we could make tools work for ourselves instead of fitting our ways of working into tools, I think.
yeah. It's, I do remember that very first meeting with there was me, there was Daniel and Patrick, our CFO, and we were talking about the data we need to drive the business, and you were in the business manager's role, I think, at the time,
Yes.
and I think yes, we got a data warehouse and we got Power BI reports, but we still weren't really getting what we needed. We had a long conversation around that. I do remember that very day,
Yeah.
actually.
I was actually debating the numbers all the time
Mm.
instead of being able to make decisions based on what we saw.
Yeah, which again, I actually don't think it's unique to us. I think there's a lot of teams and companies that debate the numbers. Are they right? When it was updated? Oh, it was in Dynamics. I've got to go and update
Like,
SAP or whatever the system
that's
is.
not correct. I just did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of time spent in, what's the number? What does it mean? Where did it come from? Justify it instead of making decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that really was the acute problem that we had.
Yeah. And like you said it just now, I was in a business manager role. So I was working on getting that stuff surfaced the right way. And for me, it was very difficult to find the right data and bring it to life, right? Because there was spreadsheets, there was different tools, like multiple tools that we had to use to just surface all of that stuff up. And I do remember working with Patrick a lot, the CFO, trying to get to a sales forecast based on the numbers that we were looking at in Dynamics, into an Excel sheet, updating that once a week, always talking to the sellers about, yeah, but I just updated that number, that's not correct. And then we talking about sales forecast, and there was nothing there really that we could actually make decisions on. Like, how are we going? I'm not really sure, because those numbers are
Yeah.
not the right numbers.
I think the other component to that was, yes, there was a sales side, then there was a delivery side,
Yes.
and servicing our customers.
Which might even be a bigger
Yeah,
concern there.
yeah,
We
and
had
it's
a bigger concern there.
and it's interesting that I would say in a traditional sense, people sort of talk about sales, but actually they want to have a sales and a delivery conversation at the same time, and then make decisions with those two pivots coming together. So that again, our systems didn't really allow that.
No, and we had tools that had worked, maybe worked for us for years.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we needed to change.
Yeah, this thing called vibe coding came along.
Yeah, that just happened.
And I remember having a conversation with Daniel around this, a CTO obviously and founder, and he we were chatting about just let's what is this thing, and then there's the purist view, and it's not really coding, and it's AI, it's engineering, and then we made the decision of just creating a sandpit and let's explore and start applying it, which you were really pivotal to that, because you applied a real business perspective to not just the technology, and I think that helped us really get to where we needed to get to, because you understood the business.
And it was a lot of experimentation, right? I understood the business. I have no tech background, so I didn't understand that. So it was a lot of working with Daniel and Gavin, who was on the tech side of things, and just having chats, agile, quickly. Hey, I've got this situation, this problem. Can we fix that with the tech, with the new tech, with the vibe coded tech, or whatever we wanted to call it?
Yeah.
Not sure if that's the true term we should use, but it would just quickly manage to just get to something. And that was also just to test if it was worth giving it a try. And then we saw what it could do. It's like, oh, well, it can do that. Maybe it can also do this. And then maybe it can also connect to Dynamics. And then maybe we can also connect it to this other tool. And then maybe we can phase some of them out. And that's actually what we've also managed to achieve, right? It's like save money because we didn't need some tools anymore.
Yeah, we saved money on licenses specifically, right? Which that when that wasn't really the primary focus. To be honest, that was an output. Yeah. The other reflection for me in that sort of period was people's mindsets. To be honest, so I do remember meeting Gavin. First couple of days, and he's got a great background in infrastructure and AWS and Azure. Clearly, there's a pioneer, as we say, really jumping into new tools. And if you sort of fast forward today, you see Gavin as a developer, an architect, understands infrastructure, a real builder of things. So that to me again was as important as what we've come up with. In a really leveraging the legacy applications that we have and putting a layer over the top that is really agile, really easy to manage, administer, it's secure, all that really important governance stuff. But taking those learnings then back to customers is proving to be really valuable for our customers, which I think is ultimately why we're here.
Yeah, and we've trialed and errored along the way as well. So that's really valuable knowledge that we now have ourselves.
Yep, absolutely.
We can share with our customers.
Remember our check-ins? What mistake have you made this week?
Yes.
We'd celebrate the mistake. I mean, I just don't know how else you can just create that really safe place for people to go play and
because
break things.
Taken turns along those the internal improvement routes that weren't great decisions and choices, and and maybe we should have done things differently. We were talking about it this morning actually. That decision we made back there is now, looking back, not the greatest thing we could have done. Maybe we should have done it differently. But hey, we'll fix it along the way. But I really love the just try mindset that we had back then, and just expanding on it. We start with something small, we make it a bit bigger. Oh, that also still works. Let's make it a bit more bigger. And then, oh no, that doesn't work. So let's go back and circle back. Those learnings are now all in what we can talk to our customers about, and they don't have to do it again.
Well,
they have to make mistakes.
And who would have known that, rapid build was sort of born out of that process, right? Yeah. That's it's not so much the irony, but it certainly wasn't a strategy.
No.
But we did capture all those learnings, and, now this platform sort of provides that.
It was too valuable not to share.
Yeah. So again, that's one of the byproducts of, I guess being curious, learning, and then, allowing people the space to come up with some really great ideas that solves a business problem without being cliche there, but it really did. And you sort of fast forward to where we are today, and last week in the showcase here in NL, people sort of showing what they've built, and so this period that we're in, and everyone talks about AI, but that's clearly that's if not the buzzword, it's happening. We understand that, but it's the tool sets that are enabling the innovation, and the access to those tools has. And I'm talking about it from an end user. They're just easier to use. So I think everyone's a builder, but not in the traditional sense of, I'm an engineer and I build things. I think everyone's, building stuff, co-worker builds and whole Co-pilot studio. Yeah, so
I
lot
built
of
something
stuff.
last week with co-work, as in something simple, but hey, I can tell you I'm definitely not technical. So if I can build something, everyone can build something.
Yeah. So, I think I think we're just in a really great period of thinking differently.
Yeah.
And
and it's been a massive snowball, right? As in, if you think about the initiation of how we started with, okay, let's try something, and then how big it got, as in, and then how many people, not necessarily the tools that we're just discussing for internal use, but then people got inspired by it and thought of something else, and maybe if we can do this, we can do that for a customer, or and then when we made rapid build out of it, and we're able to give it to everyone to just play with, it just sparked so much. How do you say that? Curiosity.
Yes.
And just let's try what it can do for us.
Yeah. I was in a client meeting last week, and was just sharing rapid build with them, and their view of it was, hey, we've got this functional consultant in our hands.
Pocket, yes.
Yeah, that documents and does really great specification, takes our end users and our IT department really building a backlog, and we understand how we can scale that. It was pretty cool sort of listening to that, right? Because they sort of understood that. And
that came from a customer.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, and they've got functional consultants in the business, but they can never scale. So the conversation wasn't about replacement; it was about capacity building and better quality of documentation, and bringing that whole process down from, in their words, they say, well, typically it would take us, if not months, many weeks to do the documentation, the ideation, specification, and it would come to IT, and then we'd have a whole bunch of questions. Yeah. And that's sort of now gone down into days. So it's pretty amazing when you sort of think of that just from a process point.
Yeah. What I find interesting to think of, and that's a different topic maybe altogether, is the replacement part of it, right? As in, people are concerned that AI might take their jobs, but then this stuff just makes it easier to do your job and be more creative and be more innovative and just improve your business.
Well, I think we're proof of that. I mean, and that's why Customer Zero for me is so important. I'm not sure anyone's lost their job since AI came here. We're sort of putting more people on. We're trying to upskill people and encourage people to use it.
Absolutely.
So I have the benefit of being a little bit older than most people. I started when there was a typewriter still, right? So I was typing and I was using carbon paper and filing manual. And yes, the internet came along and digitization came along, and you just got to keep improving your skill sets to be relevant. I don't see AI really any different from the skills point of view. Definitely from a tech point of view. I think we're doing it today. We're managing agents. Our help desk is managing agents and triaging, and so the sophistication and the intelligence is there and getting better and better, but that doesn't remove the human. So, I probably
gives a lot of people maybe just a lot of breathing space as well, as in you take away of what you always say, the dumb, dull, dangerous, and dirty.
Yes, yeah.
And then what do you have left? It's like real time to contribute and create value.
Yeah. And I know the 4D model, as I call it, and it's not overly sophisticated, but
it sort of works.
Well, I'm a simple bloke, so I sort of sit back and go, what's this dumb, dull, or dirty task that I've got to do, right? And how can I make it better? That's and in essence, if you start to map that out, I found it, it applies, right? So, whether it's an email I'm putting together or presentation or, a workflow that I sort of think about going, accounts payable, it's a pretty dull process, right? We've got really smart people, processing something that's quite repetitive. So it's not about replacing the person, it's about replacing that pretty dull process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you think, you just mentioned it real quick just now, we've got agents to triage our tickets.
Yes.
I'm not sure which D that would fall under, maybe none, but it really brings speed though to solving a problem.
Yeah, it does. And again, depends on your perspective, right? So I was chatting to the person on the help desk, and they said, yeah, their words, it's a really dull and dumb process that comes in.
I cannot judge that.
Yeah. It's like, so I get these tickets, and some of it's really, really basic stuff, and I spend my time. So you can remove, that level of not removing the process, but automate that.
Yeah.
And then he's applying his skills in high level sort of problem solving, right?
Yeah, and growing into a role. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growth opportunity potentially as well. Not potentially, it gives.
Yeah. Well, it is, and we're seeing. I mean, I'm seeing how people grow in all sorts of sort of functional roles, right? There's in finance as an example, right? And Sejal in India, who we did the MBR a couple of weeks ago.
The monthly business review.
Business review, thank you. And we, we've got a standard format, and we opened up the meeting, and Sejal said, look, I've got something to share. We've changed the format a little bit, and she built this agent that automated it, and it was highly interactive presentation, completely innovated the way that we engage, right? And you know what? To have a whole bunch of finance people smile a lot, and they always do. But we were all generally excited by the innovation that she brought to that process, and I think to me that's what makes a difference in the tech.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people here that find the aha moment where they go, oh, I can automate that bit. Like there's someone in the marketing team right now is working on this really cool tool that has to do with event automation.
Yeah.
Or not event automation, but just
Ilya.
the process behind it.
Right?
Ilya. She's working on this really cool dashboard that will help us overview everything that's happening and the playbooks behind every event. And then you go, oh yeah, look at their eyes light up.
Well, let me embarrass you. Now, I don't know if it's going to embarrass you or someone else, but we got a 217-page PowerPoint pack from our partner, Microsoft.
Yes.
And I think that's a pretty dumb process. So,
big documents.
you and the team, and I think it was Ilya. Or was it you?
No, it was me.
It was you, right? Yeah. And you put it through an agent, and you package it up in a different way, and it's now how big?
Well, it's like an HTML dashboard where you come in 3 clicks, you know what you need.
Right. Wow.
So no 217
How's that for pretty
pages.
cool? I might give Microsoft a call and
tell them it to them.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but it's cool to see people just find those aha moments, and I can do something else with this stuff and make it easier for myself to just, do my job better.
Yep. No, I sold, as they say. I don't need convincing. No, and to get to that point clearly, our data, our governance, our security, our guardrails, it needs to be defensible, super important. Back to the customer zero, right? Because it's forced us to bend and stretch, because these things are new, and every company is struggling, quite rightly learning on how to sort of manage the agents. What does that mean? How do you onboard them?
And also we're trialing and erroring in our own organization, right? We're just starting up something here.
Yep. Yes.
That we'll continue to talk about maybe later. For actually being super secure in using this stuff.
Yeah, and it's that what I would call that the balance between making sure we've got a sandpit that's safe, secure, that we can try everything, and then be able to sort of take those learnings back to the customer, right? So
They can be
we learn on
confident
our
that
shift,
yes.
as I call it, right?
Yes.
And because one of the pieces of feedback I get from clients is they simply can't keep up with
That's
the
a lot.
rate and change in the tool sets and the industry, and there's a whole bunch of if you just have a look at LinkedIn, right? You sort of got LinkedIn fatigue on AI, right? Everyone's talking about AI, and so I think our customers really value the part that we can just sit down with them and say, hey, this is what we learned. This is good.
Yeah.
This is bad. I'd keep away from this.
Don't
Try
try
that. Don't try that. That I think. Well, I know our customers are giving us really positive feedback around that approach with Customer Zero. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, George. Very interesting conversation about our own rapid circle journey, innovating our own internal processes, tools, and systems, innovating the way we work and the mindset of our people, uplifting towards using the tools that we have available. We took that journey and we transformed it into something that's called Rapid Build. We've mentioned it in our conversation as well. And if you are now curious what that technology can do for you, Rapid Build is available. You can find the link up here above this video. And please click it, try it out, let us know how it works for you. If it works for you, you can also find it on the Microsoft Marketplace. Thank you for listening. See you next time.